Warm greetings. I am Nidhi Mathur, working as a senior assistant in Ramanujan College, University of Delhi. And today, I take this immense privilege in presenting before you a presentation on Code of Professional Ethics. So let me share my screen first. Hope my screen is visible to all. For teaching ethics in colleges and other educational institutions, we must prepare and produce not only academically and pedagogically competent teachers, but also ethically enriched teachers who are able to live up to the high moral standards of their teaching profession. Ethics play such a huge part in building distinctive style of teaching. It is what gives the style its recognizable characteristics and personality. Teacher education in ethics provides a framework through which teachers are skilled and oriented to what is good, what is bad, what is right, and what is wrong, with reference to day-to-day style of teaching commitments. Such skill and orientation is very important as ethical questions are complex and relate to humankind. Teachers are associated mainly with humans as social beings. The social nature of teachers creates the need for morality, not, not drawn from a God, but from the nature of human self responsibility. In light of the power that teachers have, especially to make or ruin future of our society, ethics education forms an integral part of the teaching enterprise. The ethical nature and character inherent in teaching necessitates the process of orienting and skilling teachers to adhere to ethics and teach ethics. By virtue of joining the teaching profession or education sector, school, college, or university, teachers are obliged to lead ethical lives. Some of the features of teachers with natural intelligence, beautiful mind, and developed skills in ethics and values are: first and foremost, they are always passionate, optimistic, and happy about learning. Secondly, they are curious to solve the given problem. Thirdly, they find happiness in all the tasks that are assigned to them. Fourth, they possess the ability to convert the negative into positive. And last and the most important, they never like to give up. With ethics, a teacher is not only a confident person, but also a self directed lifelong learner, an active contributor, good human being, and a concerned citizen. One has the clear understanding of the two notions of value systems, the intrinsic and the instrumental. When something is desired as an end in itself, it is said to have an intrinsic value. But when one desires an object as a means to obtain something else, then such object is known as or is said to have instrumental value. For example, most of the things that we desire, like money, materials, expensive objects, they have instrumental value. They are means to achieve transitory happiness and satisfaction, or you can say pleasure. We desire such objects not only for their intrinsic value, but to get happiness through them. If compassion is the lifeline of any religion, ethics is the backbone of education. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, a religious leader, has very rightly said, and I quote, Ethics is more important than religion. We do not arrive in this world as members of a particular religion. Ethics are innate. Unquote. In the 21st century, we need a new ethics that transcends all religions. Far more crucial than religion is our elementary human spirituality. It is a predisposition towards love, kindness, and affection that we all have within us, whatever religion we belong to. In my view, people can do without religion, but cannot do without inner values, without ethics. What do ethics in teaching mean? A very important question. Ethics in teaching means secularizing scriptural and moral teachings and bringing them to education. It means abiding by the ethos and values that are regarded sacrosanct by the society and acting in conformity with the objectives and provisions contained in the Constitution, or a secular way of talking about values and morality. Ethics implies strict adherence to the discipline and not claiming any whimsical or personal immunity from the writ of regulations. Thus, if students use unfair means, the teacher on duty should have the courage to act against the erring student. It is mandatory for the teachers to ensure that the social and ethical values as prescribed in the institution are objectively, transparently, and effectively enforced. To ensure peace and humanity and harmony, a teacher is required to ensure that every student enjoys his rights with impunity and has access to opportunities that are offered by the institution. Faith and support of the people and stakeholders can be earned by the institution if its teachers and administrators are honest, transparent, responsive, and sensitive. Credible education is possible if the behavior of the teachers is ethical, and ensuring ethical work culture is the main challenge before them. If teachers are not ethical, they would not have the moral right to insist on students to be honest. If education is the celebration of the awareness, ethics is the joy of enlightenment, and teaching is wedlocking with wisdom. Purpose of ethics is to harness the joy of teaching and bring out the social purpose of teaching and learning as teachers' dominant philosophy. There is a need to improve the human face of teachers and develop insights on the complexities and dilemmas of ethical style of teaching. There is a need to provide the keys to those individual teachers who want to better understand and adopt the best practices of teaching. One of the most serious problems that institutions are facing today is impoverished ethical behavior. Consequently, trust in the integrity of the teacher, leaders, or administrators is waning away. We do not have to draw moral prescription for the job of a teacher, but we have to reflect on a reasonably optimistic attitude to the history of ethics and integrity, and we need to know whether we have avoided revolting sentimentality. Setting out standards of behavior for teachers, we need to showcase ways and means to ensure the impartiality, objectivity, transparency, integrity, efficiency, and effectiveness of teachers when performing their duties. We need to improve the qualities of their behavior and how they relate to each other and the students. We need to improve ethical awareness and response to the new demands placed on the government officials arising from the judicial activism, public outcry, and constitutional reform in terms of RTI, human rights, etc. Ethics also addresses the global trends in education that emphasizes ethical conduct, value for money, and professionalism. In essence, ethics shall be imbued to promote good teaching, transparency, and accountability amongst other teachers and improve their overall image. The objective of ethical underpinning is to look into whether or not a teacher is on the right track of his glory. The central argument of ethics in teaching is that an appropriate response to the challenges of development and welfare requires both love and truth. It attempts to apply the theme of love and truth to individuals, their moral conscience, and their social responsibility, as well as their micro relationships with students, friends, family members, and the society at large. They also need to manage macro relationships like social, economic, and political ones. What is the relevance of ethics in teaching? Ethics and integrity is not only relevant but inevitable for addressing the constantly changing challenges of teachers. Tempered by competition, corruption, and sharpened by socio-political constraints and difficulties, teachers need to create a new work culture and style of teaching that is ethical, universally relevant, people-centric, and sees education as part of wider social vision. Teachers have to focus on broad mission and purpose, contributing to local community and country through holistic engagement, remembering the importance of transparency, honesty, creativity, resilience, and social responsibility. We need humanistic teachers in our country who are always conscious of the links between the particular and multiple aspects inherent in society, because only in this way one can contribute individually and collectively to the, to the, to the society at large. To take the society forward, everyone needs to incorporate a humanism that allows us to look beyond ourselves, to get to know others, and what is alien to understand the keys of social life, and integrate economy, politics, ethics, laws, aesthetics, etc. Mahatma Gandhi has very rightly said, and I quote, "There are 7 things that will destroy us: wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, religion without sacrifice, politics without principle, science without humanity, and business without ethics." There is a constant questioning of the different values that arise out of different perception about the teaching profession. We need to explore and determine, along with the problem of teaching, whether or not the driving force for ethical values be derived from spiritual path. It also compels one to visualize that with the laws of commitment to human values today, ethics could once again become the compelling force. We need to understand lucidly how teaching can be made more effective, more authentic, as well as glorious, showing outcomes of non alienated and non dual being in a service. We need to map out the ways in which one could become ethical and achieve a balance between personal and official life. Over the last decade, conduct of teachers has come under the scanner of both the public and courts. Ethics in teaching is of utmost importance because immoral conduct and corrupt practices compromise the image and credibility of the education system in the eyes of the people. Our Constitution says we should celebrate diversity for a harmonious society, but the current trend of education is taking us away from this practice. A 5-year-old kid was asked, "What you want to be?" The child said, "I want to be a good human being." The adults were wondering where to send the child for education. Those instruments of democracy, such as decentralization and transparency, are not being used. Questions of ethics need to be taken out from the narrow frames of religion to wider frames of democratic values that bring to center the question of ethics and values. Ethics is also about having a good sense of aesthetics. If you can see beauty in nature, you can also see beauty in other human beings, and you can also interact beautifully. This is the crux of values. If you have to judge the inner beauty of someone, the divine, and whether or not he or she can appreciate the beauty in the nature, the divine, and the humans. Practice of ethics and values help us develop such ability to see the inner beauty in ourselves and the others, so vital for nurturing relationships with the nature, the supreme, and the society.